talking about these two jargons in the industry, whether we are working on our own, we are professionals. So today we are joined by Amit Sharma, the CEO of Disha Consultants, a leading voice in sales enablement and business growth. He has over 17 years of sales experience in B2B and B2C industries. He has held top senior leadership positions, trained over 1 lakh plus sales professionals, and almost 650 corporates. So thank you, Amit, for joining us today. Thank you for addressing all our confusions that we have regarding sales and marketing and the journey that we all have to do between them. So over to you. I would just like you to say a few words. What do you expect out of us today, and what do you want to share today? And then we'll start with it.
All right. Good evening, everyone. To begin with, AIMA, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be face-to-face with this lovely audience. Some of you are there on the camera, and you're looking absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Anupriya, for moderating this session also. And I'm pretty sure with your own experience and the kind of questions you have put together, there will be a lot of insight that you would bring to all the audience. So thank you again. I'm right here. Please put any questions you have in your chat box as well. I'll be happy to answer anything.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you. So I would also request all the audience here, you can keep putting your questions in the chat box and we will take it from there. So to begin with, Amit, we always say that sales and marketing are often seen as two sides of the same coin. So what do you think? Are they two sides of the same coin? Is there a distinction? How do you approach it? And what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, it's a classic question, actually. Knowing what is sales, what is marketing, most people will be able to answer it. There's no doubt about that. Marketing is just like a movie trailer. It is used to create a brand pull, walk-ins of the customers for the product, or create a demand. Sales is the one that convert that demand into real money through their sales page, through their customer engagements, objections handling, closings, all that, right? So that's a clear-cut distinction in terms of what each function does. But what is more important to understand here is why we should not see it as two different functions. It's always it happens. Like, I'll give you an example. If you would have heard of yebi.com, that's YEBHI.com. It was an Indian e-commerce platform. You would have heard it before, selling fashion and lifestyle products. So they ran what they did is they treated sales and marketing as two different distinctions. And they started running mass digital ads and celebrity campaigns to create a market demand. But what happened is treating sales differently, it created a demand in the product, but sales team couldn't convert those demands into sales because they were not ready for it. So the result was there was high awareness for this company, but very low conversions. So, but Lenskart did it very well. So they treated both the functions as same, unified it, and see what they have done today. It's one of the successful brand as we know it. So yes, marketing creates a brand pull, sales takes it in and convert it into money. That's at a very high level.
Okay, so if I may just try and look at it from this point of view, that marketing and sales, as you said, have to be taken simultaneously. But often, if we try and explain that market focuses on brand visibility, whereas sales is more about lead generation, getting you the business, making the money. So, often we've asked this question that what is important, or what are these objectives, or, how can we align this brand visibility with lead generation, this sales with marketing, for any kind of sustainable growth? What do you think? Because again, see, the question would be the same, no matter how much we talk about sales and marketing and how much you tell me that, both are simultaneous and we have to take them at the same platform. But there has to be some strategy, there has to be some thought process that needs to be followed. So what is that thought process which you feel should be followed, and any example that you can give?
Right. See, typically, out of my experience working with corporates, I'll tell you what happens is these two functions are treated like two separate child with two separate goals they have to chase. Right. So marketing, the management will tell them, go ahead, generate inquiries, create awareness, and do all that. Sales, they will tell you have to convert these leads into sales. This is what your goal is. This is what your script is. This is what your tools are. Now, as you mentioned, when alignment is not there, then what happens is there will not be consistent conversions. There will not be consistent customer experience, and those things will not be there. Like that's what happened to Jabong. Everyone knows Jabong here. It was an Indian online fashion marketplace for clothes and accessories. So what happened is Jabong told their marketing team that ran an aggressive campaign, discount based campaigns, right? Make the name, bring a lot of visits to the websites. That's what you do. Sales, they told that okay, the sales team has to just convert. Right now, there was no alignment in terms of messaging, like what the brand message, what the brand positioning is going to be, what the kind of questions we can expect from customers, what the kind of objections we can expect from customers based on what our brand promise is, what our positioning statement is. All those things were not consistent. So marketing and sales, they both were not aligned. So someone at the top was not thinking it in a unified way. So what happened is there were a lot of hits to the Jabong, as everyone would know this name, but eventually nobody bought from Jabong. That is what happened. Sales could not convert it, and that's what happened. But Mamaearth, if you see, Mamaearth was very careful with this aspect from all their experience, right? So Mamaearth, which is a personal care, it's a brand that offer toxin-free baby and skincare products. So sales, they noticed that there is a high conversion in terms of parenting groups, like WhatsApp groups. Those are that's where a lot of parents are. So sales gave this insight to marketing team. Marketing team picked up this insight. They ran a very aggressive influencer-based campaign, specifically focused on parenting groups, whether through Quora, whether through YouTube, whether through WhatsApp, and all these areas using influencers. They targeted parents groups, and now you see they have the lowest cost per lead and highest conversions and the maximum sales they are looking at. So what is important about aligning marketing and sales is having their shared KPIs, where we are looking at something like lead to conversion, where both marketing and team take that as a KPI, and marketing team should also look at what is our lead to conversion, what is our cost per acquisition, what is our pipeline velocity. All these KPIs, they should have common. Then actually the marketing and sales team is aligned, both in terms of messaging, positioning, and KPIs, they should be aligned.
There's this question which is very, I know it doesn't even sound sensible. A lot of times we say that we have a small team. Can the marketing and the sales team be the same? Can they juggle between the two roles? Or you feel that no, there has to be a separate team, somebody who's focusing on the brand, who's setting up the brand tonality, the language, and somebody who's out in the field for sales or maybe digital sales. So do you think it can be the same? The teams can be the same?
No, teams should not be the same, and they should not, alternate between the roles also. So as you know, marketing is you learn a lot when you do it, right? You explore a lot, you explore new sources, new marketing channels, new partnerships that can be explored. It's a specific skill that needs to be gained. Whereas sales is a specific communication skills where you should have customer need understanding and pitching the products and closing, negotiations, objections handling. That's a separate skill to explore. So if we have few people doing the same role, we'll not be able to scale later. It is the matter of scaling. So you might be able to survive with this, but you will not be able to scale. And if you look at it at a management level also, For example, if there is a management team and they want to hire, and they have a small team and they're juggling these roles, they will not have the right processes in place, right documentation in place, all the right tools in place, right skill set in place. They will not have it for scaling. So it should not happen. That is very, very important. You should train people for that specific skill set. So yeah, it's like Navy cannot do the military job and military cannot do the Navy job. It's two different
Okay.
skills.
Okay, so we spoke of Jabong, we spoke of Mama Earth. Can we also speak of Zomato and Blinkit and services like these, which we, Swiggy, Zomato, we get a lot of. We feel that they focus on the brand, they focus on connecting with the customers. Everything is about customizations. So, do you think that they are focusing on sales customizations or they are focusing on their brand communication customizations?
Right. No, that's a very good question. And these companies, if you will study them closely, they are focusing not on sales customization or marketing customization. They're totally focusing on customer need customization. So who are my target customers and what messaging has to go? For example, it's all about creating market segmentations, right? They have done it very well. They know what messaging has to go my a young market segment. They know what messaging has to go to my senior community professionals. All those, they have done a very good marketing segmentation, and based on that segmentation, messaging, brand positioning, everything gets decided. And the same has been communicated with marketing, the same is communicated to sales. So that remains consistent. So their marketing team knows how to amplify Zomato products or Zomato services among young audience. And if their sales team has to talk to them in the B2B segment, they exactly know what kind of questions we will get, what kind of concerns we'll get, and based on the positioning and the marketing and the products and the services, and they know how to handle it. So they don't look at it as a marketing versus sales. They rather look at it as a customer needs and customization and alignment.
So I think, okay, so since we are talking about more of e-commerce platforms and we think that they're looking more at customer alignments, um, in other sectors, whether it is manufacturing or finance or B2B, do you think the same rules work, customer alignment, or do you think there the process is different? Because my next question is that what comes first? Is it sales? Is it marketing? So if we look at it from different industry perspectives, education, manufacturing, finance, do you think every industry or every sector has a very distinct process? Or the value or the base system is the same? And what comes first, marketing or sales?
Yeah, it has multiple questions and very good questions. So I would say, see, when we look at marketing and sales, their fundamentals remains the same for all industries. So it doesn't change from industry to industry, only the process part changes. For example, if marketing brand positioning, you have to figure out, it is the same, that what should be your brand positioning according to your customer needs, that you need to figure it out. That will not change. What will change is what channel you will use to propagate or market or brand building those, or pass on that word of positioning about your product and service. That will change. So channels will change, but the fundamentals will not change. Now, coming back to the second question that you have, what should we do first, marketing or sales? Now, many organizations gets into this trap where they feel that marketing is more important. Let's first focus on creating brand awareness and lead generation. Sales, we will focus later. For example, CoinX, if you would have heard of CoinX, it was a cryptocurrency exchange platform in India. Now, what they did is they spent heavily on influencer driven marketing. They thought that we will market it, will bring a lot of customers to our website, our platforms, our mobile apps, and they will convert. Now, what happened is they didn't realize that that time the Indian market for cryptocurrency, they were not fully aware. There were a lot of questions, a lot of hesitations, a lot of fears were there about the money. And the sales team was not prepared for all these things. So what happened is there was a lot of visits, but conversions were not there. And finally, what happened is sales cycle stalled, conversions did not happen, and finally it got closed. But if you see the Tagzi Foods, which came in Shark Tank India also, if you would remember, you would have heard of their pitch. So Tagzi sells popped potato chips, and it is marketing it as healthy snacks alternative, right? It's a healthy snack. Now, what they did is first they focused on sales part of it. They went to different events, they put their products on the counters, they had their customers test it, eat it, try it, and give the feedback. And from that feedback, they got their brand positioning, they got what kind of customers like our product, and how to reach out to those customers. All these they figured out. And once that is figured out, they communicated it to their marketing team, and marketing team put together all the campaigns with the right channels, and now it's a success story. So it's very important that first we bring in sales to get that insight, because sales can get that insight after talking to the customers, and that insight marketing team uses to amplify the message.
But a lot of times, what happens is that we get this statement, and as a digital marketer, I always get this question that, probably we are still not ready to launch the product in the market for sales, or we are into a service sector. We do not know where to start from. So, can we already start building with a little know-how of the brand? Or maybe, we could start building a know-how of the founders. So, what do you have to say about it? I mean, how to go about there?
It is a very tricky situation, actually. So what I would suggest is first get a MVP ready, like a minimum viable product ready. At the same time, parallelly starts the marketing and sales together. So start talking to the customers at the same time, based on your understanding how you want to position your company, how you want to position your product. Take a let us say some idea about it and start marketing it, and keep adjusting it as the input starts flowing in from the sales team. That is the only way to go forward. You keep trying based on the inputs that you get from the sales team, and you keep adjusting your path. And there would come a point where both the marketing and sales will be aligned, and they both will exactly know what message to amplify. And then once the customer comes to the doorstep, how to convert them in. That is the right approach. If you focus on marketing heavily and not on sales inputs, it's a disaster recipe.
Okay, and industry-wise, this does not, I mean, as you said, that only the channels change, and otherwise it will not really.
Channels, tools, they changes, but messaging, ads, putting together ads, content marketing, digital marketing ads, the message that goes on them doesn't change. Only these platform changes.
Okay, and we can apply the same rules to startups, because I think we are all existing in a startup ecosystem where we have new startups every day. So do you think the rules stay the same for startups as well?
The rule stays the same for startups. Yes, and the 90% of what I'm talking is from the startup perspective, because I do have a startup, and and I work with startups, I work with bigger corporates also, but what I'm talking about it, all these applies to startup first, corporates later.
Okay. So, Amit, what do you think data as a resource has a role to play in aligning these marketing and sales goals? Do you think there is like a synergy, or what do you have to say? How does data plays a role?
Okay, now data has to be at the forefront. See, when you look at a movie, there is a hero, there is a director, there are side actors, but what is the main key player of any successful movie? It is the story. If you have a power-packed story, the movie will do well. So similarly, in marketing and sales game, we think advertisements and those kind of things are very, very important, but the key or the main player of the team is data. Data is the one that guides you whether your messaging is resonating with the customers, not resonating with the customers. Data is the one guides you in sales when customer comes to your website or talks to your teams. where the customer drops are happening. Are they not liking your product? Are they not liking your pricing? Are they not liking the entire process you're following, and where the drops are happening? Similarly, in the marketing also, these KPIs, data, that's very, very important. And because of this, many organization fails because they don't focus much on data. They don't make it a key player. Like there is a edtech startup was there in Chennai. So this startup offered live coding boot camps for students and training modules for colleges. That's what they were doing. Now what they did is their marketing targeted students, right? And they were bringing a lot of students, but there was no alignment between sales and marketing sales team was independently working on reaching out to corporates, reaching out to colleges, and trying to push them in a B2B model. So clearly what happened is they were not focused on data, and they were not aligned. Both the situations were there. So none of them knew what is my ideal customer profile. Eventually what happened, the starter did not do well and it got closed. But WakeFit, if you know this mattress brand, which is doing mattress, and now they expanded into furniture and bedding as well. They are doing very well, and they did this step very well actually. So what they did is they constantly monitored the data, and their data showed that most of their website is browsed during the night. So at the night, most of their customers are visiting their website, browsing their products in mobile apps. So what happened is, according to data, they changed their strategy, and most of their marketing campaigns and sales campaigns, they ran through the midnight. And as a result, what happened is they had 40% more conversions. So unless data was not the key player, they would not have known these insights. So every startup, every corporate, their management team should be data driven, nothing else. They should not be talking to their teams and asking their inputs. Data should talk everything.
Okay, so could you, I'm getting a lot of questions which we will address later for sure, but I'm getting a lot of questions as to people want to know specifically in the financial industry or in the manufacturing industry. Could you give some examples where data has helped them, or could you give some anecdotes where you feel that whatever you were talking about, it works that way in these industries? Could you throw some light there?
Sure. So I'll give you two examples. So there is a financial organization in Mumbai. I was working with them. Finovate, I think they're Finovate. So we were helping them with their marketing and sales. Now what happened is they were offering these financial products, and they were targeting multiple high net worth individuals. Right now, high net worth individuals, you have doctors, you have lawyers, you have business professionals, and so many people were there. Their team were reaching out, the marketing team was reaching out, and the results were not coming. When we looked at the data, and the first question we asked is, in terms of descending order, which is the most target audience that is responding well? Whether it is in terms of meetings, whether it is in terms of calls, or whether it is in terms of sales conversions. Now, first hit that happened was with the doctors. The high net worth doctors, they were responding positively maximum time in terms of number of meetings that team landed with doctors. So we focused completely on that. And based on that, they got a lot of conversions. And from there, they started expanding, but they got a hit. So that's what happened. In manufacturing, if you talk about, and in terms of sales, SwingStater. Now, SwingStater, when we worked with them, their major challenges were the conversions were not happening, and they were losing a lot of deals to the competition because of the low price. Now, that's what the team said. But what the data was saying is pricing was never an issue for the customer. Customer is ready to pay the high price. But the problem was the team was not prepared with enough tools, techniques to convince that this is the right investment to make. Now, if you go with talking to the
Messaging was
team,
not clear, you're saying.
sorry?
The brand messaging was not clear, is what you're saying.
Brand messaging was not clear. Team was not prepared to clarify that. team was not prepared in terms of what are the typical concerns that customers will have. Now, team kept saying that they're losing deals because of cheaper competitions, but actually that was not the case. And how did it come out? It came out because of the data. So that is the reason data is the king, and using a proper CRM, using all its reportings, and for marketing, using all the analytics that comes from different platforms, be it Google Ads or be it uh, Facebook, be it Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever is being used, those insights are very important and we should separately study it.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Amit. So, do you think with everything working together, with these teams working together, I have now two thoughts. One, are there misconceptions between the marketing and the sales team in any organization? I'm sure there are. If you could talk about that. Two, if there are misconceptions, as you said that the team said that there is issue with sales, people are not ready to pay, and you felt that there is issue with brand communication. So is there a framework to figure out that, what is the real problem? Is there a framework to negate these misconceptions and confusions that happen between sales and marketing teams, their performances, or what is affecting the brand? So the misconceptions and the framework, what do you have to say about it?
Well, this is a classic answer. And the misconception is if you ask the marketing team that why we are not getting the sales, they will say we are giving good leads, good inquiries to the sales team. They are not able to convert. What can we do? If you ask the sales team the same question, they will say we are getting junk inquiries. These inquiries are useless. It doesn't work. So it's a classic paradox that we have. And this is the biggest misconception both the teams have, right? So neither they don't talk to each other, and as you mentioned rightly, they are not aligned properly. This topic will keep coming up of alignment. So if they are not aligned properly, they are not sharing those inputs, they are not sharing the data, then these kind of misconceptions will happen. That's what happened with the Fab Furnish, if you remember, which sold home furnitures and decor products online. Now, marketing, what happened is they thought their ideal customer profile is renters and they are low tickets, so they marketed their product over there. Sales was prepared for high tickets, like try to push them low ticket customers, let them push them for bigger products, prime products, high margin products. They were prepared for that. Ultimately, what happened is there was low average order value, there was low conversions, and eventually the brand collapsed. So, but My Glam, if you know from the Good Glam group, it offers cosmetic and personal care products in D2C. Now, what they did is they were very well positioned for these kind of misconceptions. When initially they did not get good inquiries, when their sales team said we are not getting good inquiries, marketing team accepted it, that maybe there is an issue with the quality of the leads. And both of their heads, marketing heads, sales heads, and they sat together. They went through the entire marketing funnel to look at where the customers are getting dropped. They realized the biggest problem was their website landing page, their website CTA. It was not properly aligned. So they realized that this is a mistake, and because of that, the inquiries that we are getting is not the right inquiries based on our messaging, based on our products. They fixed it, and eventually the conversion jumped by 28%. So you asked me a question like, what should be the right tool? The right tool for me is the ideal customer profile, which should be constantly, we should be verifying both from the marketing perspective and from the sales inputs also, whether we have the right ideal customer profile, which is responding to our messages, which have the budget for us, for our kind of product. They have the urgency to buy it, and we are talking to the right decision makers. So these four ideal customer profile, whether my customers having the budget for the products I'm selling, whether they have the urgency to buy or they're just checking it out, and whether they are the right decision maker to buy it, who can actually pay for it. These things should be constantly verified. These are the four best tools that you have uh, to have a successful marketing campaign and a sales campaign.
Okay. So, of course, we'll come later on the AI tools and specific naming some tools part of it. But if we say that we have to integrate our sales and marketing efforts, also in terms of the ATL and BTL growth strategies. So, I would want you to share some example as far as sales and marketing integration is concerned, and also throw some light on how can we integrate it or in terms of the ATL and BTL growth strategies. How does that integration works?
Right. So to align marketing and sales, what is most important, or it's the right it's the right recipe for the success would be, number one is your brand positioning. Number two is your messaging. And number three, that are KPIs that are being monitored for success across marketing and sales should be common. And then there should be a consistent customer experience. What is promised on website is same thing is being talked about whether it is email campaigns, whether it is in your ads, whether it is by sales teams. So it should all be consistent. So customer buying experience, positioning, brand positioning, product positioning, and messaging and KPIs should be inconsistent to align sales and marketing together. Without this, it won't work out. Like, for example, this fashion app startup was there from Mumbai. So they were the mobile first platform offering fast fashion apparel for youth. Now, what happened is marketing, they promised 1 day delivery. That was the messaging that was going across the channels. Now, what happened is sales and service was not ready to deliver it. Their internal processes, their internal people and tools, they were not ready for that. So eventually what happened is a lot of people flogged into order. Then there were refunds, then there were drop-offs, all those things were there. So they were not aligned. But Bombay Shaving Company, they did it very well. So if everybody knows Bombay Shaving Company, they are into grooming section. They offer razors, skin cares, and beard products. Now they aligned both their messaging, their brand positioning, and their KPIs. It happened consistently across ads, WhatsApp messages, telescripts. So everywhere, sales and marketing, they were talking the same things. And as a result, Bombay Shaving Company is now growing pretty fast. Like revenue growth is 60%, and customer acquisition cost is like 25% less. So this is how they're doing it. It's amazing. So prepare your messaging playbook, share it with marketing team, sales team, and they should have consistent brand positioning, consistent messaging, consistent click to action process. Like if the customer goes from website, where does it end up? From there, who picks it up? So that customer experience should be consistent across all platforms.
So when you say that, the person, and this is a question that had come initially also, a person who's preparing the brand playbook or a person who's working with the brand communication, the copy and everything, do you think that person can also be involved in the sales team, or that person should just be confined to communicating and creating the brand playbook and the copies? Is there like an integration that can happen? Somebody who's working with the copies, with the brand playbook, with the communication, we can also induce the person into sales, or we should keep it separate?
If we keep it separate, we are, blindsiding him, and that will reflect into the quality of the work or the results we are going to achieve. So the person should be involved in selling. They should be involved in talking to the customers, most importantly. And even in marketing, they should be involved along with the management person, right? So sometimes what happens is sitting in management or being a CEO, being a founder, we think it is not our job to get involved in all these things. Let people come back with the report. Once they come back with the report, it's too late already, right? So the founder CEOs or the vice presidents, along with the person who is working on the brand playbook, along with the sales team members and heads, marketing team member and head, they should all be talking to the customers, understanding the customers, and then preparing their positions.
Okay. This is, I think, a personal question that I feel. So I work a lot on the digital media platforms. And so we have, usually when I work with brands, so brand has a team which works on the social media communication part, how we are communicating. There is a brand playbook which is already ready. The brand people have already worked on it. Now there is a team which is working for social media, and then there's a team which is out there on the fields. So do you think this team which is there on the fields and working on social media can be the same, or they should be separate and still aligned with each other? Because smaller startups, smaller organizations, they often kind of uh, disfigure themselves with this, that somebody who's doing my brand copies, we can also send them in the field, or somebody who's been in the field, and there's a lot of argument going on that either I can be on the field or I can do your Facebook and social media. So what do you have to say about it?
Yeah. So it's a pretty good question, but it has two sides to it. Like if you want quality information, whether it is brand positioning, whether it is your messaging, then this person should be in both the roles. So that is required. But when you talk about from the scaling perspective, then it won't help also. Right? As I mentioned, the skill set has to be built, the process has to be built. So from scaling perspective, it is not good. So what we need to do is we need to have two separate people or two separate teams here, but then from the quality information perspective, they should be involved in both the functions, talking to each other, going into the field, talking to the customers to get their quality information.
Okay. So, Amit, could you throw some light on some emerging trends in terms of sales and marketing, and also highlight some AI tools or some tools that you feel we can use when we are focusing on marketing and sales? So, the trends and the tools.
Right. So now a lot of things has got changed in marketing and both in sales after Corona. Corona has made people more comfortable with online, digital, and that is the trend that is continue to grow, where more customers will shift online. And that is where now, even in marketing, we should rely heavily on online channels, digital marketing channels a lot, which we were kind of avoiding before. So this trend will continue. Second trend that will continue now is that alignment of sales and marketing, which has to happen. It is still not happening. It is still not happening in smaller companies, MSMEs. It is still not happening in big corporates as well. So that will happen. There will be small, pods, I can say, that would be emerging. These pods will be, let's call it a small committee in a simple terms. These committees will involve marketing people, sales people, and other brand communication people, and they together would be creating this alignment, messaging, positioning, branding playbook, selecting the right ATL channels, BTL channels for brand communication and customer experience. So that kind of trends will be emerging a lot. What small companies can do from the beginning, they can have this alignment going where they have one or two people responsible who play key role in sales, who will play key role in marketing, and along with the founders or co-founders, they kind of start sharing this information and bring in that alignment in terms of KPIs, in terms of positioning, messaging, and process and tools and reporting KPIs, shared KPIs. Now, the second question is about the AI tools. So yes, AI tools would be a big, I would say they would play a big role. Those who are not using them, they will be left behind, because AI tools will be making us much more smarter. Like quick decisions will come, right? I'll give you a very good example for road bounce. It was also from Shark Tank India. If you would have seen them, they offer AI based road quality assessment tools for governments and infrastructure firms like Adani, right? Adani Group. So now what they did is, since they offer AI-based road quality assessments, they used predictive analytics a lot. Using the predictive analytics, they identified the cities, the roads in those tier 1, tier 2 cities, which needs a lot of upgrade. And based on this data, they reached out to municipalities, they reached out to government and pitched their services to them. Now that is where AI tools help them to find their right ideal customer profile and right target customers and reach out to them. So this reduced their sales cycle, this reduced their efforts, that increased their conversions. So AI tools, whether it is ChatGPT, whether it is predictive analytics, will play a big role. And organizations, MSMEs, they can use like Zohozia. It's an AI powered lead scoring. You have ChatGPT, you have Make.com. So all these AI tools are there that can help you make smarter, quick decisions, that can put together right messaging for you, help them identify your target audience, and help them prepare tools for your marketing, for your sales. They can do all that. In fact, you don't need many, you need just ChatGPT or DeepSeek is the two tools that you can start with, and start asking these questions that what based on my product, what should be my messaging, what should be my ad, what should be my CTA, and where should I market it, what event should I participate in. It would guide you at every step. Just you should be smart enough to ask those questions.
Okay. Thank you so much, Amit. We are getting a lot of questions, and I think you've already addressed some of them. But Abhay says that what frameworks do you recommend for diagnosing whether a company has a lead generation problem or a conversion problem? How should sales and marketing recalibrate? Also, he wants you to focus on the distribution factor. Can you share some insights? So the question is about the frameworks of, as we had discussed earlier, diagnosing whether the company has a lead generation problem or a conversion problem. And he wants you to focus on the distribution factor as well. So if you could throw some light.
Right. Now, to identify whether it is a lead generation problem or it is a conversion problem, there is a very popular framework which is called as BANT, BANT, right? It is an acronym. It stands for B for budget, A for authority, N for need, and T for timeline. So the simple question is, the leads that we are talking to or the leads we are getting, do they have the budget to buy our product? Can they afford our product, right? Someone who with a budget of 5-10 lakhs entering into Mercedes showroom doesn't make any sense. They cannot afford that. Simple. The budget is not there. So whether the leads that we are reaching out to, do they have that kind of budget that they can afford our product or not? Then A for authority. Whether they have the authority to buy or they're just non-influencer. Like for example, if you go out to buy oranges for your house, in that also two key decision makers are involved. There is husband, there is wife, right? Wife decides which product to buy, husband pays. Now, who is the key decision maker here? That's a classic question where you should focus on. Who should you be talking to? Simply, you should be talking to the wife, not to the husband, because the decision of buying would be taken by wife. So authority, are we talking to the right decision makers? Are our message, our mails, our ads is reaching to the, in an organization, reaching to the right decision maker? That's A, that will guide you. Then N for need, right? Do they really have a need for our product, or are we trying to create a fake need for them? Do they really need our product? And the last one is the timeline. If they need our product, do they have the urgency to buy it? Right? I bought a new car. Now your ad reaches to me, your messages reaches to me, your calls reaches to me, pitching for a new car. Doesn't make any sense, because I may be interested looking at it, but I'm not going to buy it because I simply don't have urgency to change my car. So that is very, very important, that this BANT framework will help you identify whether it is a lead quality problem. And if all 4 criteria are met, then it is a conversion problem. Your team is not ready to convert it.
Okay. And any insights about the distribution network? Anything you feel gets affected? You have to say something about that.
No, I didn't get the question. What is the question about distribution network?
So Abhay says that we are missing a factor called distribution. Can you share some insights regarding this? I think what he wants to ask is that when we talk about sales and when we talk about marketing, so the distribution channel, how does that get affected? How does that is governed by the brand communication, and how is that governed by lead generation? Or is it not governed at all? Is the distribution channel existing in its own totality? So is there an integration there? Is there not an integration there? Again, I think uh, every industry is so vast that we cannot really talk about every industry here. We cannot talk about every channel. Distribution channel will be a very different ball game altogether. But still, if you have to say anything about it.
See, from the marketing and sales perspective, distribution alignment should be there in terms of the promise that the brand is making to the customer. Can that be delivered or not? Right? Sometimes what happens is marketing gets too excited, they get too aggressive in terms of promising something that cannot be delivered. I gave an example as well, where the marketing advertised it saying we can help you in 1 day delivery, but they couldn't, the distribution channels couldn't deliver it. So that alignment has to be there. And the classic example is Domino's. Or the classic example is if you take it in terms of delivery or logistics, I would say um, let me there is an app that delivers Instamart, like Instamart from Swiggy, right? Their distribution channel is in complete alignment to their brand positioning and messaging. If they say Domino's says your pizza will be delivered in 30 minutes, that is the brand promise, then it will get delivered in 30 minutes. If your Instamart is saying it will come in 15 minutes, 10 minutes, they are doing it because distribution is in alignment with brand promise and marketing. So that is very, very important because if customer comes to your door with a promise that cannot be fulfilled, it's only going to cost you in terms of marketing, efforts, distribution, and everything, and still you will not be a successful brand.
Where Dr. Seema says that on an average, what percent of products fail in an Indian market? So, if I put it in terms of what we are talking today, so if any product or service fails in the Indian market, who do we have to blame? Is it the marketing funnel or is it the sales funnel? Again, the question that what do you think the failure can be attributed to?
Right. Now, if you look at the startups, if you study, actually, if you sit in Shark Tank alone and watch their episodes and watch the inputs of the judges, the very simple problem, there is a three-level problem here. Number one is most of the product comes that don't even have a demand for it. So founders thought they can create a demand, but there is no demand for it. That is the first level of failure. And that is where you need to have a minimum viable product, or before that even you need to do the market research to make sure that the demand is there for the product. The second problem comes is identifying the ideal customer profile, right? So before even doing this market research, most of the startups I have seen, they run towards funding investments. They think that is the right way to be successful. But that is not the right way to be successful because investors are not fool people that will just like that give investments. They would like to see if you have a reliable customer base, you have uh, buying customers, you have repeat revenue, all those things are there or not. Those things are very, very important. So ideal customer profile and some buy-in is the second point of failure for any product. And then third comes into scaling, where marketing team identifying the right customers and right messaging that goes and the right channels on which they should market. That is the third reason that the products fail. And the fourth reason is, of course, the pricing and the competition. If according to the competition, it is not priced well, then it's the fourth challenge. So these are the four areas where product fails. And yes, in terms of number, I would say 80 to 85% of startup fails within the first 1 year.
Okay. Okay. So I think the discussion can go on forever, Amit. And the last question that I would take for today is that we often, all of us talk about budgets, money. People say we don't have a budget or they don't know how to set a budget, especially MSME, small and medium enterprises. So what do you think is the thumb rule to set up the budget? Do we have to put in equal, whatever money we have and whatever budgets we have, do we have to put in equal budgets to sales and marketing funnels? One. Or should we prioritize? What do you have to say about it? And to wrap up, then I would just ask you to give me 3 pointers which you want the audience to take back today. So one is talk about the budgets. Is there a thumb rule? Is there like an equal situation that we can work with? What do you have to say about it?
So, budget is not the first thing to be decided. First thing to be decided is what is the goal here. So there is a beautiful framework that has been given by Brian Tracy. It's called GOSPA, GOSPA, right? GOSPA. It breaks down G for goals, O for objective, S for what is my strategy, P for plan, and A for action. So what it tells you is how much revenue do you want to generate in your first 1 year? That should be your goals and objectives. And then you break it down backward, like which channels will help me achieve this? What activities should I be doing? And based on that, in the end, it will tell you how much budget is required to achieve that target. So it should always be reverse engineered, starting from what goals or revenues I want to achieve and then break it down backward. And then that will tell you how much budget you would require. If you can meet that budget based on the channel, like for example, I'll give you an idea. I want to do 1 crore sales in a year. Now 1 crore sales I could do through Google Ads also. But Google Ads, cost of acquisition may be high, but I will get quality leads and quality sales conversions very quickly, right? So it has its own budget. In a month, it will guide me to achieve that 1 crore sale. I might have to in a month invest 1 lakh in Google, right? Similarly, let's say my budget is not 1 lakh. Then I need to look at an alternate channel that can help me reach 1 crore, but with the less budgets. So budget is not the first thing. Budget is comes in the end. First comes your goal. I hope I answered that question.
Okay, Amit. I think there's a lot that we have to go back. Yeah, I'm sure that again there cannot be a thumb rule that you have to put in this much money and you have to do this. When we talk of sales and marketing, when we talk of industries, when we talk of sectors, I don't think there can be a set A, B, C, D, E, F thumb rule that we can follow. But as you said, that we can prioritize, we can integrate, we can take help of the tools, we can align our teams, we can understand the goals, we can work backwards. So I think we are almost out of time. Last few minutes. If I say that you have to give 3 points or 3 top points that the audience would remember or you want them to take back with them, then what would that be? I mean, because this is a never-ending discussion and we can't really have answers to everything as far as sales and marketing is concerned. But what do you want us to go back with? What food for thought do you want to give us?
Right. So number 1 is your ideal customer profile. Now, typically, we want it to be big, but I would say keep it small. That will give you a laser focus, and with less money, you can achieve more. So be very precise in terms of what customers you're targeting. Your ideal customer profile should be as small as possible because conversions would be higher and budgets it would take, efforts it would take, would be less. That is the number 1 thing. Second thing is messaging, brand positioning, should be consistent across marketing and sales with shared KPIs. That's very, very important. Third thing is, someone asked this question also, quality of inquiries, quality of leads that we are getting should be regularly monitored. And the last one is, be insanely obsessed with using ChatGPT or AI tools, like insanely, right? It should be second to your son or daughter, I'll tell you. That insanely obsessed, you will do it, then it will guide you a lot. It will reduce, if you are supposed to get successful in like 2 years, 3 years, it will reduce that time to like 1 year. So it will save you like 2 years, and how much amount of money and effort it would save you, I cannot stress more on that.
Interesting, interesting. I think I personally have also got a lot to take back from today's session, and all the insights and all the examples that you've given, I think have given us a very holistic review and preview of what sales and marketing can be and what the whole path can be between the two. So thank you so much, Amit, for taking out this time and talking to us and answering the questions. Thank you to all the audience who's been there with us. They've been asking a lot of questions, a lot of statements. I'm sure that we'll be doing such more sessions in the future. So thank you so much, all of you. And I would wrap up with this. I hope all of you have a very great evening and a weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, AIMA and YLC, for giving this opportunity to be in front of this lovely audience. And thank you, Anupriya, for being so patient, driving out that intel, sharing your own experience. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the session today.